In this video I'm going to show you how you can calculate an average or a sum from a certain number of columns. Let's say in this case from January through April. If you want to change that into May, you go to this drop down box and you change April into May or whatever month you want. And you will see that everything updated. How did that happen? First of all, you have to make that drop down box. You do that through data validation. You choose a list and the source of that list is B2 through G2. And that's how I get that list. Okay. So now, how did you get all these calculations? You need three functions, two of them nested into the first one. I used average, but you can also use sum, etc., etc. So it takes the average of B3 through, how do we find that should be F3? B3 through F3, that is where the May total is. So we use the index function. The index function looks in the range B3 through G3, but because when you copy it down it should go into B4, G4, you don't lock the B3 and the G3. So how do we find in that range which column we want? We want column 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You use the match function. The match function is going to look in I2 always and ever, even when I copy it down, so lock that with the F4 key or type the string signs or dollar signs, whatever you want. In the range B2 through G2, January through June, comma and exact match 0. So all of that together gives me the average of B3 through F3. And in the next one, when I have that formula here, I just copy that down and it will automatically do that. So when I change the month, it will automatically update. You can also do this with pivot tables. In this case, I created from this list where I have the years and the 4 quarters, north, east, south, west, I made a pivot table. I assume that you know how to make pivot tables. In this case, I put the quarters in the column, the year in the rows, and the totals in the values. So when I click outside the pivot table, this panel will disappear until I click there again. So we calculated 3 different things. We say give me the average up to the year 2003, 2001, 2003, that is a drop down box again. You know how to make that now. And then we need a formula here. And that formula is basically the following. Equals average. J. Lock the 3. But not the J, because we are going to copy it to the right. So you don't even have to lock the 3. Colon index, J3 through J8. And match, in which row are we going to look? And there is the formula. Match, etc. If you want to do that for between 2 years, between 2002 and 2005, if I make this 2006, then everything will update. Then we need the average function again, or the sum function or whatever, index J3 through J8, J3 through J8, and then find in which row do we look. So you use the match function. I15, that is this guy, in the range I3 through I8, an exact match. Okay, start there up to and do another index, J3, J8, match, etc. So that's what the formula looks like. It will be a little different when we are going to do that for up to quarter 3. So we put in here the quarters, let's say up to quarter 2. That will be the result. And the formula in here is the one that I showed you here. So it shows you. So it shows you the average again. J3 colon up to index. There is the index function again in the range J3 through M3. Okay. Comma, comma. For this time you don't want a row number but a column number. That's why we have 2 commas here. Before we had only 1 comma because we wanted the row number. So match P2 locked from J2 through M2 locked, and the end result is here. You copy that formula down and it will do everything perfectly until you update the up to situation. If you want between 2 quarters again, then you need something like this, but make sure that you have always 2 commas before the match because you want to look in the columns. If you know how to use match, index and summary functions, you can do miracles.